that year, the USSR hosted the Summer Olympics in Moscow. Over 60 countries boycotted the event, led by the United States, in protest of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Also, Andrei Sakharov, the Nobel Peace Prize-winning physicist and dissident, was exiled to Gorky in January 1980 for criticizing the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. In the summer of 1980, our class traveled to Georgia, one of the Soviet Union's republics. We stayed in an empty school. Another group of kids from Uzbekistan was also there, many of them being older boys. They drank moonshine made from toothpaste. The Uzbeks would grab our girls, and somehow, one of the longest tug-of-wars ended with me. Our teacher barely slept at night, catching girls sneaking into dark corners. One evening, the Uzbek who had taken an interest in me convinced me to stand with him beneath a very dark staircase. We talked quietly. Then, he placed his large hand gently on my shoulder. The moment made me uneasy, but before I could react, my classmate appeared out of nowhere and shouted, terrified. "The teacher is coming." The Uzbek and I scattered in opposite directions, like two identically charged particles, just as our physics teacher had explained in class. The boys in our class felt rejected and tried to win the Uzbek girls' attention. But it was hopeless. Although they weren't wearing burqas, the girls never looked up and always walked in tight groups. Eventually, our boys decided to take fate into their hands. One evening, 4 of them invited me and 2 other girls, Luda and Lena, to the park. We sat together on a bench. Then came the announcement. "We've decided to choose which of you we'll walk with." We giggled in anticipation. I thought to myself, they probably won't pick me. I don't even like myself, my arms and legs are too long, my knees square, and my eyelashes almost invisible. Why would anyone else like me? One boy chose Lena. Another chose Luda. I braced myself for rejection, feeling a mix of relief and disappointment. At least the Uzbek boy had noticed me. But then, the 2 remaining boys said, "We choose you, both of us." Come on. My jaw dropped. On the last night before our departure, we said goodbye to the Uzbek group. Our girls cried bitterly, as though their husbands were being sent to war. I didn't cry. I didn't even like my Uzbek. On the way back from Georgia, I didn't get to sit with the girls on the train, but I didn't mind. I ended up traveling with the boys, and we played Kiss Kiss Meow all night. In this game, you call out a color, each representing a different action. Red meant kiss, green meant hug, and so on. I was thrilled to be in the spotlight. Back home, one of the boys who had chosen me at the park became my first boyfriend. His nickname was Gray. It was a 7th grade then. When we started dating, my best friend, Luda, began dating Jinya. We were a small but fairly tight-knit group, though to be honest, I wasn't too fond of our boys. I wanted to spend time with older, more rebellious types, but they ignored me, and that stung. I never liked good-behaved boys. I prefer troublemakers. Still, Gray's quiet affection touched me. I even went to the movies with him, although the whole experience felt more like a clumsy ritual than a romantic outing. We were shy and awkward around each other, unsure of what to say or how to behave. In Shalakovsky, there were 3 movie theaters, one in the Palace of Culture, another called the Summer Theater, and a third located in the park, which was later demolished. We mostly went to the first one. My father could always get us tickets, even when shows were sold out. If there were no seats left, we'd sit in the projectionist's booth. Sometimes, the movie would begin in eerie silence, until someone in the crowd would shout, in a booming voice, "Sound!" Movie advertisements were displayed as large posters in front of the Palace of Culture. Many of the films came from India, a country with which the USSR shared a long-standing friendship. These movies often came in 2 parts, one featuring vibrant dance scenes and lively musical numbers. One day, our class went on a hike. On the way back, we fooled around in a hayloft, pushing each other and tumbling together, sometimes falling so closely that something unfamiliar would rise inside, a mix of excitement, confusion, and curiosity. In moments like these, I liked Gray. but I couldn't stand his navy blue school uniform. That color still makes me wince. Those saggy, shiny knees. Our friendship was like the sea, ever-changing, full of squalls and calm. We quarreled, reconciled, and wrote each other long, meaningful letters. Eventually, Gray became popular with girls in the grade below us. I was jealous. Angry. They whispered behind my back. One day, Gray ended up in the infectious diseases ward. He had hepatitis. He obviously didn't wash his hands. I spoke to him over the fence. School felt so dull without him. I secretly hoped that when he returned, he'd ditch that dreadful blue suit. But no. It was the same uniform. Even more blue. Soon, my dad handed me my photo. A nurse from the infectious ward had brought it to him. It turned out Gray had taken it with him when he was admitted, and left it behind. So this shy, quiet boy, who wore a suit I couldn't stand and had questionable hygiene, had also carried a photo of me into the hospital. I thought we were just friends. But for him, it was more than that. He loved me. Then, Gray introduced me to Yura, his cousin. And where did I get this craving for bad boys? What I did not like about the excellent students with exemplary behavior. I began meeting with Yura in secret. We didn't even date, but we stood in the corridor of my home just a couple of times. My head spun from this standing, and my thoughts went to infinity. I should admit, good boys don't know how to kiss like that. Yura invited me to the party when he had to go to the army. In the Soviet Union in 1980, military conscription was mandatory for nearly all non-disabled young men. Gray also appeared there. I was perturbed and felt out of place. Everything went quietly and peacefully. Gray might have been unaware of our relationship behind his back.